Hello, people. Hello, hello, hello. I'm trying to fix my camera. Maybe it will take some minutes. And we're still waiting for Andreas Sirsos. Maybe he can join us, or maybe somebody else. Who knows? In this mind blowing world, who can join us actually today? Let's wait for a couple of secs for maybe more people to join us. Let's see. I want to check the sound actually, what's going on. Um, yes, it shows. Yeah, it shows that we're live, and uh, I see, I hear some of my words, so it's okay. But Andrew is still not here. Probably he's gonna print me. He said like 20 minutes. So I have to entertain you for 20 minutes, and that'll be just fine because I have a bunch of news. I hope you can see me now, right? I'll turn it off for a couple of seconds so I can be screen sharing. Um, let's see. Let's see. Present to everyone. Um, yes, Andres messaged me right now, so things are okay. I see a couple of emails that I sent to myself, which I actually. This is a new new old Russian, let's say, invention. It's an ancient technology. Probably you've seen something like this during these shows of Martin, or maybe somebody else could have showed you. It's a sound frequency weapon. It turns your enemy or the opposition of yours to scare. First of all, it also can be changed to a frequency which can make you puke, and so very interesting because it has different areas of possible implementation, right? Just wait a couple seconds. My cats are messing around. Okay, the second one. Well, let's say a couple words. I've heard Americans use something similar to this in Afghanistan. This is actually some of the best footage that I have right now, fresh footage from this week about the buried walls and ancient structures underneath the roads. As you can see, this is road pie, so-called pie. Uh, so it's like ground in, and the asphalt itself, which been already maybe erased a couple of feet of it, because before you take these technological excavations for, I don't know what they were excavating here actually for, but before you do it, you have it like this. So it's like you take off some asphalt and only then you excavate. So this is what they actually found. So it's definitely some ancient red brick structures here, and so very interesting, I think. Also, there's another building similar to what we've seen in Omsk, my hometown, the famous photography of Rubil Museum. Also, this is pretty much the same here. Bricked up windows, and I don't know what's this. Maybe the main entrance or something like this. Who knows? The famous Polytechnical Museum, and I've showed it a bunch of times. Yes, I've showed what situation right now it's in one of my previous videos, maybe a week ago. So it's like everything right here is covered with the bridge right now. So they made a pedestrian bridge in this location near the buried windows. So I don't know what are they gonna do with the windows. We cannot see right now. but sooner or later they're gonna open up the site so we can see it, and I'll probably visit it as soon as I can. Another interesting building. My cats are still messing around. I can't do anything about it. So if they're gonna fight, they're gonna fight. So this also a building, very famous picture of the building. It's still going on like this. So this is not just the first picture. It's like the third or maybe fourth picture from the site, and it's still in this situation. So the officials ain't doing nothing about it. It looks still pretty much the same as it was like 5 years ago when they took the first picture. This is some European town, probably Prague or something, or Budapest. I can't even remember right now. But it's pretty. Actually, we see red brick buildings underneath the asphalt also during the excavations. Very interesting. And the same stuff in on a close to Moscow, where we have the Охотный Rat right now. It's all right now demolished. You won't find any of this anymore. So it's like the trade center right now, a underground trade center for three or four underground floors, and it's all underground, and the parking is underground also. So it's like everything is destroyed, and we probably won't find any evidence of this site anymore. Okay, this is the first letter that I had. Let's see if he joined us. No, he didn't. Let's see the second one. Um, Also, very nice website I found. I don't know if you can. You won't probably be able to use it, but it's like some guy who's just finding cool pictures and stuff like this. So it's like what I searched for undergrounds here in search. Let's see if I can do it right now. And just immediately the search results from the site gives us a bunch of different undergrounds, even the home for Satan, so-called commanding bunker for Russian Soviet missile, stuff like this. Very interesting. But my attention was grabbed by this article, which is underground Saratov. Saratov is a city on the Volga River. The Volga River was called the River of Ra. So Ra, you know what's Ra, right? Ra is Russia. Ra is very interesting because if you turn it the other way, it's Aryan. So it's like Ra and Aryan is the same. So it's like, okay, even Saratov is like Ara. So it's like both spellings are included in the city name. So it has like a bunch of undergrounds, as you can see, and the famous one. So it's like they say in a bunch of underground factories, fabrics, and scientific institutes, laboratories, and stuff like this, which was dedicated to the defense uh, production. So it's like different research there, and they have all these pictures here. Uh, so it's like all Soviet abandoned structures. They don't look very interesting for us, the mud flooders, but at least for those who are interested in undergrounds, and this is pretty amazing, I think. So if you want, if you want to visit the hugest one, you go to Saratov. You probably find somebody who can show you these Soviet bunkers, and some of them are preserved very good, some of them are not, and my attention was grabbed by this. They call it, how do they call it? Uh, then we go to the ancient system of the sewers. sewers, right? I don't know if I'm correctly spelling it, but it's like underground water canalization routes or tunnels. Uh, so let's try to check the one that was built in 1914, like the first implementation of the concrete in the household systems of the city. So it's like we call it communal, but it's like the sewers. So it's like underground contains of three hallways of the same size, which are connected with the connectors. I don't know how do you call it. So this is how they look. So if it's this is concrete and it was implemented in uh, 1914, it's like before the first, during or maybe before the World War One. I don't know what kind of amount of technology and money they spend on it during that time, because they probably didn't have all that machinery that we are told they didn't have. But as you can see, it's huge, enormous. Maybe it's not in very decent condition. I've been in a couple of those. I don't know what they doing here, probably messing around. Some fire show or whatever they doing here, so don't worry. But I've been in a couple of those tunnels. I'll probably show you some pictures sooner or later when I get to them last year. And they look pretty much the same, and they were used for wine and champagne production. They are in the Krasnodar district of Russia, where we have plenty of dolmens, plenty of megalithic structures, and this is what kind of similar to what I saw in Krasnodar district, but they were used as wineries. For me, it's just very technological. I don't know. What do you think? I think it's doesn't look, and this is probably the entrance to these undergrounds, or maybe some other ones. Let's see what are they. Yes, it's other system. It was built earlier, and it was built completely from the brick, and it's dated as the end of 19th century. So it's like 1870s, 1880s, probably maybe 1890s. So this is our famous brick production. How many bricks were production? Was that production really so efficient to, you know, create such good quality brick production? I don't know. What do you think? Because I mean, it's easy to make some type of bricks, but will they hang on for 100 years? I know, or maybe 200 years. Or if we are talking about the prefab technologies, it's like 300 years. I don't know. How many buildings of this type we have? We have a bunch of them, and we have a bunch of those red brick buildings from 17th century, 17th, 18th, 19th century. So it's like a bunch of churches, a bunch of houses still left, and they date them this time. So I mean, we were talking about the crazy amount of bricks that were supposed to be produced for this system to be actually built, because it's a city, and you cannot just shut down the city for construction. So you have to do it underground. You have to do it with some rate of efficiency. I mean, you have to do it. And what do we have right now? We have just the remainings of what they were building there, and maybe some of these locations are still close to us, because these are just what we can see, what we can actually go down and check it out. But most of those locations are closed, or maybe buried with concrete, like my friend's shop was. So he had a shop with arms and some guns and rifles for hunting, and they had this basement underneath, because it was already a basement, but they had a basement underneath, and they opened it, because they paid the rent for this office, for this shop, and they opened it. They were supposed to, excavate this dirt and mud that was underneath, and use this also for their like a small warehouse or whatever they could be using it for. So they excavated it and found out just the same what we see here: huge tunnel. And they called the historic museum that was luckily nearby. Two historical archaeologists came there and like checked it out, and it was like, four horsemen could have ride them. Just imagine the amount of space. Four horsemen in a straight line could have been riding and don't even touching each other. So it's like huge, huge tunnel. And so in a couple of hours, the equivalent of CIA, the Russian KGB, which is called FSB right now, came. Two agents showed their documents, and they got a truck full of concrete, liquid concrete truck, and that concrete truck poured all this concrete inside this basement and completely shut it down with concrete. So it's like no one could ever enter it anymore. So this is how they do it. If they find something like this, if they find something that we cannot use, cannot see, cannot touch, cannot explore, this is how it's really going on. Okay, the next letter, abandoned church, also very interesting. Very interesting church, looking just the same antique design that we were searching for, and for me, it doesn't even look like church. It looks like some type of temple, but not. We have a synagogue with the same facade nearby my office, but I really doubt that the synagogue actually had it in original way. Maybe they just took the house that the officials gave them for usage. But I don't know if this could be called a church. Maybe on documents it was a church, but it's a palace. Maybe it was even a synagogue sometimes. Who knows? Who knows, guys? I mean, a bunch of Jews were living in Russia, and we know they live in Central Asia, and they live in America, and they live in Germany, in Poland, everywhere. So, if they use this design, this antique design for their temples, why not? Why not? I'm not saying it's not true, and maybe it was captured by some other religion, and then they used as a Christian church. Who knows? Who knows, guys? I mean, I'm not an advocate of somebody, but we can see the metal strings inside the walls, the thing hanging on. So was it just uh, done during reconstruction, or were they using metal in 18th 19th century in such constructions? For what they were using it for, we can only guess, because we were talking about atmospheric electricity, ether, or whatever. Or we can be talking about lightning captures that could be throwing the lightning charge into the grounding. And but who knows if they were using it for. But we were talking about the priests looking like an electricity workers with this special protection clothes made of special materials with special clothing on them, and maybe some silver, or I don't know, even gold, or something like this. Or and they have it like isolated from their bodies, and with some other clothing which is covering all their bodies, and they don't even, so it's like isolation for electricity charge. And who knows what they were doing in those churches back then, if these were churches, or maybe those were temples. And the problem with those churches is they don't have any heaters, they don't have any stoves, anything original. And it's really hard to imagine Russia without winter, but we can actually see a bunch of pictures with the clothes, with the summer, or spring and autumn clothes, but we don't see any pictures with the winter clothes, and we don't see any winter on the pictures before the 18th and 19th century, guys. I mean, miserable quantity of pictures of not 18th century picture in winter, and just a whole bunch of more pictures capturing winter in 19th century. I mean the paintings, not just pictures. I mean, we don't have we don't see any photo pictures, also no large amounts of photo pictures capturing winter. I mean, this is really strange. And I also can tell you that we don't see any pictures, any photo pictures of the balls. I mean, the famous balls of those elites. Could you find me any pictures of those balls? I mean, the dancing people, so we can see how they were eliminating those huge holes where those large amounts of people were gathering and dancing in the evenings. Were they just, lighting it all by electricity, or were they doing it with the candles? Just, find some pictures if you can. It would be just a great, your great part of this research, because it's really a big deal to find those, just as hard as to find any money of the federal banks, is what I've been talking about. So it's like, I don't know what is going on with this stuff. It's all the coincidental evidence. It's not direct, but how many coincidental evidence we're supposed to have so the scientists won't uh, just ignore us, won't just give us all these horse crap theories or cultural layers and all this stuff. I found this Russian channel. Let's just check some more pictures. And I found this Russian channel that's actually also covering Krasnodar district, the district I'm going on vacation in the summer for third year already. Maybe this summer I'll also be there and check out those dolmens and some of those sites that they are checking also. But those guys are kind of half official, semi official. They have all this semi official narrative. I mean, they're trying to explain, trying to do, pull as closer to the science as they can. And they don't even imagine anything like flat earth or fake space or anything like this. They don't even, they don't even mind all this research that people doing right now about it and proving that a bunch of fakery is going on in its subjects. They just, trying to, give us some maps of bombardment by comets or stuff like this and stuff like this. So it's just, some of them trying to explain with these dust storms that you know went to the atmosphere and then fell down with the rain and covered all the streets with the so-called how do you call it, clay. They call it clay because small particles of dust, when they fall down and stick together with the water, they get sticky and they form so-called clay. Okay, but I mean, is this really interesting for us to debunk them each and every time? My cats are getting crazy. I'm gonna kick them out of this. Just for, I mean, uh, is this really so interesting for us to check this out? I mean, we have this group in Russian, and this is where we research, exchange our opinions, and they do it. Sometimes we have this official narrative. Sometimes they repost my pictures because they repost Martin's also pictures. I don't know who else. So it's like the exchange. Oh, Andreas says that he's sorry and he's totally forgot that his buddy was coming from France and he's just to California. So okay, don't bother. We already in the talk. So Where is this? Where is this stuff? Oh, let's like don't waste the time about this one also. Okay, 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 okay. Where they have it? So many posts each and every day, and they like just flooding, 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 flooding with this all this crap sometimes. So I cannot find anything decent. I don't know. Probably I won't. Okay, but I found another thing very interesting. I think this guy is promoting the theory that the Egypt was not done in constructions, and he shows that the examples of Jesus these examples of these non-constructed columns, for example, as you can see, some of them are polished and looking like very soft and smooth, and some of them looking like just ordinary blocks. I've been covering this material about those little pimples on the blocks and what they were used for. So when you make a concrete block, you can, if you're making it from the natural, organic ingredients, if you make this solution from all this stuff, and you want to dry it out because it's like more has more percentage of water, more humidity than it's supposed to have, and you don't have it like you don't have a form, you don't have a shape of the block, you can use a bag. So they could have been using the bags uh, looking similar to cubes or uh, you know perpendicular blocks, whatever. And that's why each and every bag was unique, of course, because they were probably handmade bags sometimes, or maybe we have a back number A number one, A number two, A number three, so they could exchange those bags and actually perform uh, this this look that looks like a manual job, right? But this was actually not a manual job because all those bags were uh, could be made even by production. Who knows? So um, either they were faking the manual work, or either they were doing it manually actually, if we're talking about the bags. So those bags, um, I tend to think they were faking it, right? So it's like it's like my idea also. So I mean, they were using those bags to fill them with the concrete, and the bags are dissolving in some period, right? So it's like not an eternal structure. A bag made of clothing of something, like it can uh, let through the water, so the water is drying out, and all this concrete structure is drying out because the water is you know going out of the bag, drying out, vaporizing, whatever you call it, due to the heat and due to the sun rays that are heating it up. So it's vaporizing, and we can only see the very sticky to each other blocks, which they don't have any distance in like between. So sometimes you cannot even put the $100 bill in between those blocks. So it's like very interesting. But what about the nipples? Nipples were used in those bags, so they can put the some type of vibrator inside, some vibrating device. I don't know. Was it manual or was it actually not manual? If they were faking manual, they could be using anything like a vibrator or mixer, and use those vibrators to do the concrete more solid. So after they use it, they cover the hole with this little titty, I don't know how do you call it, pimple, you know, and that's why they had so many pimples. Maybe after that they were polishing those stones. Who knows if this guy is right? But I have some, some my own my thinking about. He's shown pretty nice pictures, shown the process, and some blocks are decent, and some eventually or accidentally are not. Some are good and fine, and some are rough and ugly. If it's not a finished construction, then we see a hugest fakery that we could ever see, guys. And this is really astonishing scientific proposition, a theory, hypothesis, whatever you call it. If it's a fake object, if it was fake from the very beginning, they could have just, stopped at the period of construction. Well, maybe a lack of funding, or maybe the emperor died who was, promoting all this crap, or maybe some high ritual Masonic, you know, master died, or who knows what paradigm changed, and eventually all those construction sites were abandoned, just like this. Because maybe if you look at them like this, you can say that they're not that old. If they just, abandoned like this, if they didn't have this outside fancy layer that we were told about, they just left like this because they were not finished. And that's why they look like this, you know? And this is very interesting. Very, very interesting. So that could actually prove that those objects like 300, 400 years old, not even older, not older. And what we just see, we see just ordinary pre-flood technology, which is similar to the technologies that we had in 40s, 50s, and 60s of our construction, 20th century construction, technology. Concrete, concrete, guys. Some of those blocks are also unfinished. Look at this. Made decent inside and forgot about the outside. Does it really make sense? Maybe they just dropped like this, so to fake the manual work. I mean, look at this. This is fancy and smooth, and this is the dropped. It's the same here. What are they trying to fake? The weathering, the wind blowing weathering? I don't know, or humidity. But why does it have? You know, it's thicker around here than it's around here. So this is just impossible for weathering. Weathering can grow the stone above the perfect structure, perfect flat structure like this. So it's like no way. It could be erasing stuff, but it's not. Look at this. It's just perfectly. It could be pressed only in the concrete while it's not dried out. And this could not be finished, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it's left like this to fake the manual job. Look at this. It's just concrete. Also, very interesting proposition, very interesting paradigm. I don't know if you understand me perfectly due to the language barrier and stuff like this, but I think it's a great topic of research, guys, because this is a great improvement in our theory. Great improvement. Like we have all those columns perfect here, and we see all those ugly columns over here. How could it be possible? You see these smooth and perfect flat blocks over here, and oops, it's not perfect. Even on this block, they didn't finish it. Okay, let's see if we have any questions in the chat. Stars are not what you think, they are angels. I don't know. Azat Mamedov. Azat is bringing pretty much very interesting. He's looking through all the videos, all the posts, and all the articles, and he's finding the better quality pictures and maybe highlighting them for us to check it out more perfectly. Because sometimes in the video you cannot see the full information from the picture because it's just shown by somebody on the screen. And this guy is, helping us out with this stuff. I think there's just the whale stars. Those six octagonal or Jewish or maybe David star is a whale star because I think it's like this. Could the pyramidal buildings be like acupuncture on the earth? According to what we see right now, it looks like they are not. There are a bunch of guys that writing me right now about the Moorish Empire or Moorish influence in European stuff. What I found. Maybe I'll find it later. That a bunch of white Aryan-looking people were living in the northern Africa, including Morocco, including Algiers, and they called barbarians or barbarians, not the black guys. They were called barbarians because they were white, because the white barbarians were attacking so-called Rome, and they were attacking from the east, and those guys were attacking from the south. And only in 19th century they were mixing up with the rest of the Arabian and Turkish conquerors that were actually controlling all this area in 19th century. Each and every country in Africa was controlled by Ottoman Empire. And only in the beginning of 20th century they lost control. So this is a huge place to research also, and only not only Moorish influence but the Aryan influence in the northern Africa is very interesting. There were dragons in those days. There's a dragon and a dead fish on Morocco. Matt Fossil University found them. Not only him found him, each and every one of you guys can find it if you look at the Google Maps, and maybe if you learn some national legends, because all those mountains, Elephant Mountain, Dragon Mountain, and a bunch of sleeping giant in Russia, is called the sleeping giant by the folks, not by the scientists. And the dragon is also called by the scientists, and we see it on the maps in the like 16th 17th century maps of Portuguese, Catalonian maps. So Catalonian atlas, we also see this dragon map, but it also dragon wall or whatever you call it, but it also looks like a mountains to me, because it could be mountains, why not? And yes, each and every mountain could be a sleeping giant or sleeping dragon. We are not denying this, but I'm not saying that this is quite exactly the path we're supposed to follow right now. I mean, we have to do it, and people are doing it, and Matt's also doing it. I forgot the name of a new guy who's also doing it about the elephant, and I'm promoting this stuff. Actually, I'm promoting this stuff, guys. I'm not against this theory. I'm promoting this stuff, and I told a bunch of times, and I saw a bunch of sleeping giants and elephants and sphinx and all this stuff and griffins. I saw a bunch of those rocks, and I'm actually supported this theory for a long time. But right now, when we get trolled by those who trying to debunk the mud flood, it would be stupid for me to mix. I'm not a professional doctor. I'm not a professional biologist. I'm not a professional, anthropologist. You know, what I do observe, I observe buildings. It's kind of easy to me because construction, it's not that high level of intellectual knowledge you're supposed to know, and you can talk to those people. I have a friend who's a construction worker. He was talking with me last Sunday, and I showed him a bunch of pictures and from Arbat and all this stuff. Let me just stop this presentation so you can probably see my face. I've talked to him, and he's a professional in construction. He is a professional tunnel and bridge constructor. So right now he's building two tunnels and one bridge where my wife's mother living exactly at the same place. And he like told me the address and said, "What? You building there, really?" And I know this that district pretty well. I know those red brick buildings there. And I told him, have you looked at this question? Have you found anything suspicious while you constructing stuff, or while you digging all these tunnels? Because yes, I did. Yes, I did. They were constructing a tunnel, and at the 22 meters deep, because they exactly know how deep they are, believe me, they found, guess what? They found a rusty trolley bus. Trolley bus. Rusty trolley bus at the 22-meter deep in Moscow. And they were like, what the hell? They were doing all this drilling with all this, how do you call it? They call it shit, but it's not shit shit in Russian is like shield. They call it shield, you know. And all this shield, they press it, and it's like you have all those bunch of those rollers, and it's like drilling the tunnel. And shield was they're like, what the hell? They shut it down, and they see, look, this is trolley bus, the rusty trolley bus. They were like pretty amazed because 22 meters deep. How come the trolley bus can come down that trolley bus riding with this trolley, and they like supposed to have electricity above them so they can just an ordinary bus, but with these trolleys, and it's made of electricity. So it's very interesting. And I said, what was the explanation? Maybe somebody gave you an explanation. Yes, they raised up, and then oh, another interesting thing that I almost forgot. What they did, they poured the concrete in the hole that the trolley bus was, coming out, because it's like stuck from the tunnel. So they had to cement it so they won't have any consequences. So they put this concrete whore, horse or whatever, how do you call it? And they poured, they turned on this concrete thrower, and it's like, yeah, they went for lunch. He told me they went for lunch for an hour or maybe 40 minutes, and you know lunch is up there, so they raised in the elevator and went up there to their to the place they have a kitchen, and they took a lunch. And when they went out of this wagon where they have a kitchen on the construction site, they saw all this concrete uh, is flowing around, and they're like, "What the hell? It's our concrete that we poured down there." And they went down there, and everything was in the concrete there. So it's like, I mean, how is that connected? I mean, so the 22 meters, they have this like tunnel for 22 meters to the surface, and that's where the concrete was pressured out to the surface, and that was really strange. Very interesting situation. And somebody told them that they probably had a dump there for some time, maybe a dump where they dump all those rusty vehicles, or who knows, because they couldn't go further because they had to do their job, and they poured the concrete inside, so there's no way they could research it anymore. And he also told me about a bunch of bricked up walls and bricked up doors that he met. And so he's like, but he was like the ordinary thing for him. He's like, I met them a bunch of times. It's like, we build in some parking or some underground to the, stadium. And we found a bunch of those bricked up windows and doors and construction from the red brick underneath the stadiums, and even the thick walls. And I've talked to, have you seen a star fort before? He's like, oh, no, probably not. So I tried to show him on my phone something, but he was not in the topic. So maybe next time we meet, you'll see something, because I told him to check things out more more effectively now and picture each and every subject that's suspicious for him. So that's probably all for the news today. I have a new channel which is called Mudflood Advanced Research. I didn't know how to call him, so that's the only thing that came to my mind. Probably I'll be putting all the Mudflood videos, some short period of time there, uploading them, and shutting down this Mudflood topic on my personal channel, which is like Philipp Druzhinin. I'll be discussing different things. I'll be chatting probably, and you know, so I want my subscribers to go to the Mudflood, which are interested in the Mudflood, of course, to go to that channel also and subscribe to that channel. So we have like two purposes. First is a backup, and switching the topic to Mudflood for the specific channel. That's what I wanted to do last year, but it was a busy year. So this year be more free and efficient. I can even get my home notebook from my home, so I can use it both. I have another office right now, so I'm like more free in my actions, and I hope I have more free time to edit videos during my work. So because I have a huge line, you know, we have less work this year, and probably that is bad for the money, but it's good for my channel. So also, uh, Richard Lopez had a Patreon account. Check him out if you want to support his research. Also, I got the Patreon account. Um, Andres Xerxes also got a Patreon account. If you want to support, if you truly want to support, because each and every dollar that is being donated, it would probably go for some development of his and Richard's channels. As for me, what I do is um, I'll pay this money to the specialist in graphics, and they probably help me out with the flat earth map video that I wanted to do. Because it will cost me a lot of money, probably. I don't know how much, but maybe at least a couple of $1,000. And this is Moscow. This is very cheap, of course, but it's not like American price, but it's still it's still money, because all the money I make, I put it in my development. And right now it's very important to save, because we can have a crisis each and every time. Each and every year we have a possible situation of a global crisis. So if you have, and if you wanted to support each and any channel of what I mentioned, you can go ahead and do it, because people have their patrons. And I've heard Martin had some problems with his work, and probably he's doing only YouTube job. So, and he has like 40 Patreon patrons, whatever you call it. So it's like very good for people to support the research. I mean, whoever you're gonna blame for talking nonsense and providing misleading information, if you like it, you can support it. Why not? I mean, it's not very difficult to understand this, I think. And I personally, when I have money, free money to donate, I do donations to whoever channels. And it's not like I'm doing it for only for me. I'm doing it for the people. And if you have a channel, if any of you guys have a channel, you want to promote your content, and you can find me easily in Facebook and show me a channel link. And if we are close in what we do, if my audience is your audience, potentially I can promote it and help you out with advice, what you can do, what you cannot do, because I'm a professional YouTube manager. So uh, I can help. Okay, that was probably the finish of today's video. So check out for a new channel, subscribe. And Andreas is not coming today, so if we can schedule it later, we can do it next week. Next week we're gonna have one chat with the new channel. Contact me today, I was pretty much pissed off with what the information he was given, and I wrote some angry comments there. And he was contacting me, so he can ask some questions about the research. So stick around. I'll be in touch, and probably this weekend I won't be making any more videos except that I'll be making on that new channel. So see you later, guys.